in Ras Al Khaimah, extremely excited and happy to finally be here. You can see Baby Palm in the background, which is really producing a course this year, which I think will be extremely fast and flat and sheltered at the same time. On the women's side, watch out for Perez Jepchirchir, Olympic champion over the marathon distance and building up to defending that in Paris in the summer. And on the men's side here in Ras Al Khaimah, we have got a deeper field and a wider field, perhaps a little bit harder to predict who might be at the front end. So the likes of Tamarat Tola, world champion in Eugene, so 2 years ago now, and then defending champion Bernard Kibet-Koech, who will be hoping to be able to defend that title, perhaps run even faster. The athletes are coming there, all building towards an exciting summer of racing ahead and a spring of racing too in order to secure selections. So let's watch out for some fast times and some scintillating racing.
Good day to you and a very warm welcome to this 17th edition of the Ras Al Khaimah Half Marathon. Ras Al Khaimah, one of the smaller of the 7 Emirates of the United Arab Emirates. And Ras Al Khaimah means the top of the tent. That is the way it looks when you look at the area on a map. Paula Radcliffe had a trip up into the mountains nearby, the Hajar Mountains, and enjoyed a zip wire experience and a sled ride experience, the Jace Sledder. They are just an easy drive from downtown Ras Al Khaimah, and enjoyed the views too from the top of the mountain, around 5,000 feet, about 1,800 meters. The altitude of the Hajar Mountains and the highest peaks in Jebel Jace. Well, my name is Tim Hutchings and I'll be commentating with you now for this next couple of hours on this super fast half marathon with Paula Radcliffe. And we look forward to brilliant racing on this new course in Ras Al Khaimah. We're on the Marjan Island.
There is the schedule for the races this morning, the half marathon, going off elites first and masses behind at 7 a.m, followed at 9:30 a.m. by the 10-kilometre road race, and then the 5k and the 2k fun run.
Yeah, the daytime temperatures get up to around 27, 28 degrees at the moment. Rather glorious if you're lying by a pool, but these athletes will be very pleased that they don't have those conditions right now. In fact, it's actually quite chilly out there at the moment. As you can see, 17 degrees, and because of the humidity, it actually feels less than that. It's not t-shirt weather, that's for sure.
Temperature will climb a little bit, the humidity will drop, which I think is more the significant factor. The dew point at the moment is just 1 degree Celsius below that of the current temperature, which makes up for that high humidity, which actually can be sapping.
There's one very good socio-economic reason for you to come to Ras Al Khaimah and run the half marathon, whether you're an elite athlete or not. And I'll frame it as a question. What would you rather be doing? Would you rather be in Northern Europe somewhere, slogging round a cross-country course in the wind and the rain? Or would you rather be here in beautiful Ras Al Khaimah on Al Marjan Island, running in the half marathon? The other reason this race has become so popular since it began back in 2007 is that it's a perfect springboard for the spring marathons. And this year has got particular significance because it's Olympic year. So you prepare here in Ras Al Khaimah with a half marathon, you go to one of those 4 big city marathons in springtime, and you convince your selectors that you should be one of only 3 marathon runners to go to the Olympics in Paris in midsummer. Now, the course records here in Ras Al Khaimah are pretty speedy, so we're expecting more of the same here in Ras Al Khaimah on beautiful Marjan Island.
So let's find out a little bit more from the course. I think you might have gone out and had a look at it yesterday, did you?
I certainly did.
When I first came here to Ras Al Khaimah, about an hour up the road from Dubai, The course was in the centre of town, a few kilometres away. It was flat, it was fast, it was a good road surface, but it had some lumps and bumps in it. This is back in 2007, and for a few years after that, it went past the ruler's palace, it went past the golf course. It was very quick, they had world records, but it wasn't super quick. Now the course is super quick. That is the course heading in a northerly direction out to the far northeastern corner. They go do a U-turn just before that roundabout, in fact. And then the adjusted course, it is a new course this year, sees them zigzag around the centre of the island there. And then coming back towards the finish line, past the hotels, back towards the mainland, and doing a U-turn there before getting to the finish line, heading out on another sort of half lap to the far end. But you can see these long, sweeping, flat roads, really good road surface. Then they come towards the finish there, long finishing straight, and it promises to be very, very quick indeed. The appearance of that map is probably deceptive. There are very, very few sharp turns, in fact only a couple of U-turns. The rest of the course, Paul, up very, very fast and good running, and there's not going to be much wind either, we understand. 18 men in the men's field have gone under 60 minutes, 7 of them below 59. It's almost unprecedented strength on the men's side. And on the women's side, Paul, I know you'll be very, very excited to see the calibre of this field.
Definitely, the depth is built up there, and we have so many elite athletes to watch.
For first time I come here, RAK half marathon. I know half marathon is not easy. It is not easy course, so it is flat course, it is fast course.
This is my 4th year to be here. I came here 2016, whereby I ran my personal time that I was being selected by Kenya team to go run in World Half. I have a lot of memories because it's where I started running and where I started knowing that I'm talented, and still my personal best time in a half marathon I ran here. I love running RAK half marathon.
I'm from India, from Kerala. This is the 3rd time I'm participating.
Today I just want to get below 90 minutes, man. That's all.
Then I'm expecting for the race today for maybe 1 hour and 50 minutes, but let's see. And I need inshallah to finish it within 2 hours 10 minutes this time.
I'm originally from Sudan, so I'm here in RAK for the 3rd year in a row, participating in the half marathon.
Well, the event record on the women's side, 64:14, set by Gamawit Gebrizar. That was 2 years ago, 64:14, one of the quickest times in history. And on the men's side, well, the event record 57:56, again 2 years ago, back in 2022. Jacob Kiplimo from Uganda, who is the world record holder, 57:56. I don't know if we'll see a sub 58 today. Let's have a look at some of the athletes there. Paul, this is unprecedented strength in depth here, and really good to see number 5 there, Bernard Kibet-Koech, the defending champion, back.
Yes, he's back to defend his title. Tamarat Tola, the world champion from Eugene, obviously in 2022, a couple of years ago, he's there. So there's a real mix in here of those marathon specialists meeting the half marathon specialists like Matejko at the top.
I mean, there are just so many athletes. When you think there are 18 guys here who have broken the magical 1 hour barrier, and the new shoe technology, of course, has made that a little bit easier than it used to be, but it is still a very, very fast time to achieve for 21.1 kilometres, with 13 women under 67 minutes. The last 3 races here have been won in 64 minutes. So that was a world record back in 2020, then a world record, 64:14 and 65:05 last year. Helena Beery, the winner last year, is not back, but Constanza Klosterhalfen is, and she's the one European in this women's race who could upset the apple cart.
She could. She is returning from injury, but is hoping to have a good run out here that might match her debut at this distance when she clocked 65:41 in Valencia.
Well, you can see the athletes, their centre of picture, the huge mass of people gathered behind the start line. Quite a narrow start line for this start gantry. So away they go then. The 17th edition of the Ras Al Khaimah half marathon is underway. Now, I can tell you that there are no pacemakers in the men's race. The assumption is that they can generate a tempo that is fast enough to get a long way under 60 minutes, but there is a pacemaker in the women's race.
Yes, there's one pacemaker in the women's race, that is Vincent Kiprotich-Koech, who I think is
going to be aiming for around 65 minutes, although I can see women feeling good, asking him to push that pace. The mist will lift, I think, as the sun comes up higher, but even walking out in the dark this morning, we saw little swirls of mist and cloud over the course.
Here we go then, at the front end of the race is Matejko, looking quite comfortable there in the red shorts to the left of picture. Daniel Kibet Matejko, he was second here last year. He knows the atmosphere here, he knows the feel of this race. He lost by just 4 seconds to Bernard Kibet. Well, this group of, what, about 16, 18, Paula, was separated from the rest very quickly.
The split I'm getting through the first kilometre, 2:53. You can see Matejko checking his watch there, just making sure that the tempo is quick enough for him. That is the tight turn that we were talking about, which has been added in at the last moment to the course. So they're just taking that turn now around, being directed by the lead bike to make sure that they negotiate that properly, and then it's less than a kilometre now really to go back to that turn out onto the island.
And they're on time for 59.16 at the moment, so a long way under 60 minutes.
And 65.36 predicted time, so through 9:20 at 3K in the women's race.
Do you miss it, Paula? Would you like to be out there running with these women?
I would. I always wanted the opportunity to race in RAK. It's known as a race that's produced fast times. I guess it came onto the scene towards the end of my career. What we've seen in, I don't know how many, 3, 4 world bests set here.
Well, the last kilometre in this men's race, 2:49. They went through 4K in 11:15. There you can see the kilometre splits, 53.43. That second K was quick, and then a 2:50 and a 2:49. One or two of them looking around at each other. Tola to the left of picture, there or thereabouts. He is a good aggressive runner. I like that.
I think Tola prefers to run negative splits, certainly in his marathons, but in his half marathons as well. So great to see him at the front, pushing on at this stage, and I'm sure it will continue to build from here.
There's not a breath of wind out this morning. That is a good thing. One athlete beginning to drop off the back of the group already. Well, that is an unusual sight. In all the years I've commentated at this Ras Al Khaimah half marathon, I've never seen a mist like this hanging over any part of Ras Al Khaimah, whether downtown or here on Marjan Island Hotel. Here we are. We see the leading women, and one athlete there to watch out for is Amangole Catherine Relin.
So yeah, the group that have gone through 5K, we can see it includes Coco Klosterhalfen there in the black top and shorts.
Tola taking on the burden of leading here with 17 and a half minutes on the clock, and everybody else following him. It's a little bit like the Pied Piper. Tamarat Tola, 32 years old now, and that's good to see. John Kipkosgai Korea, he's only a 60.27 performer, so he's operating at a tempo well over a minute quicker than his personal best at the moment. That's a lovely shot, isn't it? The sun rising over the Gulf.
What she did there was run up alongside the male athlete and said, come on, if you're going to be in front of me, you need to pick up the pace a little bit. He's not an official pacemaker in the green. The pacemaker is alongside that.
The predicted time is gradually coming down. Remember, it was 59.19. They're around 59.10, 59.06, now 59.01. So they have moved it on here. 8.4 kilometres. And still Tola, seems almost determined to keep his nose in front there, with Matejko in the red shorts, who was the early leader, remember. And he is one of the quickest here, and he is ambitious, second last year. Well, good to see these women pushing it along now. I'm a little surprised, I have to say, that the burden of being at the front of the group, in effect, Paula, has been down to Coco Klosterhalfen. Well, there you can see the women's splits. 3:10, 3:10, 3:09 for that 8th kilometre. So it's consistent, but not quite as quick as they might have wanted. But there you can see, bottom of picture, the field negotiating that right-hand turn. Now Matejko, he has been the most aggressive of this pack, frankly. There's a very small number of men ever who've gone under 58 minutes, Paula. In fact, only 7 men ever have gone under 58 minutes.
And that time puts him the 12th fastest in history. And he's consistent as well. I mean, if you look at his races last year, he was second here in RAK. He won LAN. under 59 minutes in both, so 58.49 here in RAK and then 58.36.
So 59.02 now. Eventually that will creep under 59 minutes. Matejko 28 minutes at 10k in this men's race.
Little gaps starting to open up a little bit in that men's section. You can see Koech just having to pick up the pace in the orange vest a little bit to close up on that, and back in the women's race, still a steady pack that's settled down now. 3:04 through that kilometres, so their pace has picked up, and still Constance Klosterhalfen at the front trying to push the pace.
That's them going through 10k in 31.09, and when the course record was set, Gebrezier went through in 30.28. That's the official split, and good to see as well. The Olympic champion hanging in there. Matejko's still at the front there, Paula, in this men's race. He's pushing it hard, but Tola left a picture in trouble by the looks of things at the back of this almost single file column now.
He has just dropped it down. It's lifted slightly. That's what, a 3-second lift in the pace through the kilometre section, which means they're edging closer to dipping under that 59 minutes final tempo. But it is interesting to see that Tola unable to go with it at this point, and the gaps starting to open up and the group will fragment.
The thing is, you know the writing is on the wall, don't you? When somebody stops dropping back mid-race and that there's a 10 or 15 yard gap at some point, you can tell they're in trouble, and they may rally and come back to the pack, but it would be very, very unusual for them to then run a strong second half and be at the front at the end of the race and be involved in the finishing sprint. Women's race here, well, Chelimo is looking strong, tucked in behind the pacemakers. Margaret Chelimo, Kemboy, she's a 64.46 runner. She ran that when she won in Valencia. I don't know if we're going to see a fourth world record set here today, because we have had 3 women's world records in the Ras Al Khaimah over the last 16 years, but it is still building up for a nice race.
Back to the men's group, and Legesa and Tola now are back in that group, probably because it has dropped back to a 2:52 for that 13th kilometre, and you can see John Correa in the centre checking his watch.
The time on the clock as they went through 14k, about 39.25 there or thereabouts, and that's the U-turn at 14k. Now we're in single file. Matejko, he suddenly decided to try and break up that pack, because that's aggressive.
Well, it's almost like he heard the bell sound, didn't he? Because he's gone out now on this final lap of the course. And now, contrastingly, it's Dibaba who's gone off the back. And Tola is, well, there's another gap opening up ahead of Tola, but he has responded. So from that big group, this has really, really broken it up. Lassoy has been able to go with it. Correa has gone with it. Koech is trying to go with it, but it's almost a group of 3 away already.
14th kilometre was a 2:55. That is the slowest of the race by quite a big chunk. There you can see the splits as they come through. In fact, they have slowed the last couple of kilometres. The winning time predicted there as still being just outside 59 minutes. Still pretty quick, a long way under 60.
On the likes of Tola, Kibiwat behind that, really now strung out and racing and trying to just maintain sight of this leading group. And you can see Koech, defending champion, is the one detached in 4th. They're unable to go with the pace, so we've gone from a pack to really just strung out, trying to hang on, and this is without a doubt a concerted effort from Matejko.
42.02 at 15 kilometres then. Matejko pushing hard, and he made the acceleration as they took that U-turn at 14k. Kicked in really hard. He's striding out strongly now, and he's determined to improve on his second place from last year. Lassoy at the back of the group watching everything that's going on. He's had a great race so far, Lassoy, and he could be heading here for a big improvement, the 24-year-old Kenyan. We're in the final quarter of this Ras Al Khaimah half marathon, and now Correa easing onto his shoulder. There we see the women take the U-turn at around 14k. Oh, and the Olympic champion in the marathon has dropped off the pack. Perez Jepchirchir.
Did not look good on that corner at all, did she?
Wow.
So now it's Gebrselassie settled in behind Lipschitz. Chelimo taking the chance just to drop back a little bit.
Gebrselassie and Yeshane battling it out.
Chelimo is starting to drop off the back of that group as well, and not being able to stick with this pace. settling in the men's now, isn't it? A little bit, allowing Korea to come back up alongside of Matejko and just maintain that pace. A little bit of a look across, and don't write off another surge yet to come from him in order to try and win this race.
Well, look at those times coming through, 2:40 and a 2:44. Yes, they are watching each other now. This is becoming a cat and mouse game. And it's down to these three now. Three Kenyans. Looks like it will be a Kenyan victory this year. Down to these two leading ladies. And it's still Gebre Salama, Sigi Gebre Salame against Yeshane. But here we go, through 19k. Look at the clock. Almost exactly 53 minutes at 19k, and still Matejko and Korea. What would be your tactic here, Paul? If you were feeling pretty strong, would you trust your sprint?
It would definitely depend on who I was racing and who's around me, and that is without a doubt going through the minds of the athletes right now. So Matejko will be thinking, do I trust my finish? Am I quicker than the two athletes with me at this stage, and can I rely on that, or do I need to keep pushing it on? Their predicted finish time through the last split marker had actually just dipped below that 59-minute marker, which is key, and I think these men would prefer a time with a 58 in front of it rather than a 59 at this point.
Oh, they absolutely would, but look at this. Gebre Salama in the women's race. Has she got a bit of daylight, or is Yeshane still dogging her heels? Wonderful shot there of the two races. The men's race coming to its climax. Matejko now pushing hard. Korea tucked in behind him, and Lassoy is the one who's struggling back in third place. 55.5 minutes on the clock. They've got about 3 minutes of hard running to go, about 1 kilometre. Predicted time 58.50 here. It has eased under 59 minutes. But look at that long raking stride of Daniel Kibet Matejko, the 25-year-old Kenyan. Daniel Matejko, who is going to be the winner. He's persevered. It's his third appearance at RAK. He's pouring it on, trying to get as far under 59 minutes as he can. There's really impressive chasing going on from John Korea behind to close down on him, but he's not going to get there. It's mighty fast as he comes towards the line and breaks the tape now. It's 58.45 unofficially for Matejko. Korea 58.49, just 4 seconds back. Brilliant, brilliant running.
I'm really enjoying a lot because this is for my third time. My first time I was number 6. Last year I was number 2. This year I won, so it is something that I feel so good and I'm so happy. And I'm looking forward to come again next year for second win. My plans over there now is go and prepare for marathon. That is where my dreams are. That's why I'm dreaming to do what I'm able to do, and I believe myself I can do it.
He believes he can run a good marathon. Of course he can. He's just won the Ras Al Khaimah half marathon in 58.45. It's 19 seconds outside his personal best, but it's another, Paula, fabulous performance from Matejko.
There are the results of the men's race. So Daniel Kibet Matejko in that 58.45 winning time.
Back to the racing here, but I say the racing, well, it looks like we've got a runaway winner. She's got the cross-country pedigree, she's got the track pedigree, and this is going to be one of the biggest wins of her career. And she comes towards the line now. She's destroyed the opposition in the second half of this race. She's looked relaxed and comfortable for most of this second half, but she comes to the tape now and breaks it in 65.14.
Yeshane, who has held on 2 seconds.
I like it. It is the course is nice. Little bit cloud is. My plan, I qualify Olympic Paris. I'm happy.
Paris is very much on her mind. We're in late February and Paris is in August. 6 months away, Paula, but yeah, Paris. That'll be playing in the minds of many of these athletes. But we can now look at the result of the women's race, the top 8 at least. Sigi Gebre Salama winning in 65.14, setting personal best by some 32 seconds or so there. She won though by 30 seconds from Yeshane, 1-2 for Ethiopia. And one of the biggest surprises of the day, Jacqueline Juma Sakilo, Tanzania, 66.04. Former world record holder in the marathon. Thanks a lot, Paula, for being with me. I hope you've enjoyed the running here in the mists of the UAE, the mists of Ras Al Khaimah. For Paula Radcliffe and myself, Tim Hutchings, bye-bye. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Away they go then, the 17th edition of the Ras Al Khaimah half.
So happy to participate of the half marathon.